whispers are getting softer. Shouting is getting harsher.
Welcome back to the Purple Pod, the best K-State podcast out there. Yeah, I said it. My name is Steve.
I'm Ken.
And in today's
And I'm
episode, we're
Cody.
going to be talking about K-State's win over UCF 44-31.
Cats. Yes.
Before we do that, though, hit that like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of that. Yesterday was a pretty good win for K-State, all things considered. K-State ended up beating Central Florida 44-31, and a kind of a back and forth game until about the fourth quarter. Kenny, you're the only guest today on here. I wanted to ask you your initial overall thoughts on yesterday's win for K-State.
Guest? I thought I was the dang co-host. What? How did I get?
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
How did I get demoted here? Oh man, yesterday was so awesome. It was such a feel-good day, man. First of all, weather was awesome. So there's that. And then, man, I just had like this overwhelming like anxiety about Will Howard. Guess what? That didn't matter. And like our defense, that didn't matter. Like it kind of mattered. But, you know, I just had like a lot of question marks on the previous episode of like, I don't know what it's going to look like with Will Howard not in. Well, Will Howard actually ended up playing. So that was pretty cool. So overall, my initial thoughts, dude, I'm just hyped, man. I'm so insanely hyped right now. Like it just got me. I was kind of down on the last episode, but dude, I'm back, baby. I'm back.
I love it. And I was pretty excited to beat UCF yesterday. Now, before the game, I'm about to leave my house to go to the game because I attend all the home K-State football games. And I'd say to my wife, K-State by 1 million. And my wife goes, really? And I'm like, you know what? Let's make it 100 million. K-State by 100 million. And she goes, Steve, you're ridiculous. And then I reply with, K-State, please just win by 1. I was going to be happy regardless as long as K-State won. But they played better than I thought. We can look back at the scores here in a little bit. But I thought this was a nice win for K-State, all things considered. Will Howard played pretty darn good. The K-State offense played very well. K-State defense played well at times. Getting to 3-1 overall, 1-0 in the Big 12 is right where you need to be following a loss. And, you know, looking at the overall picture, and we'll look at it later here, K-State lost on a 61-yard field goal a week ago. Is K-State good enough to make the college football playoff? Probably not. So does that loss matter that much? I mean, yes, of course, it'd be nice to have one more win and be undefeated right now. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't change the fact that K-State still wants to get back to Arlington and win a Big 12 championship. I thought this was a great win for K-State. Like I said, I think UCF is a top half of the Big 12 type of team. So I think it was a really good win for K-State. So let's go ahead and start talking about the game overall. I'm going to pull up some stats here. K-State's had over 500 yards of offense. Starting at the quarterback position, Will Howard threw the ball 42 times, 255 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, but he did have a couple scores on the ground. He did have 1 interception. The big story, though, on offense, and I think you would agree with me, Kenny, here, DJ Giddens ran the ball 30 times, 207 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. He also caught 8 passes for 86 yards. I mean, he was showcasing at running back. He played probably the best game for running back at K-State in a long, long time. Do you agree with that?
Dude, do I agree with that? Look at my name. I changed it, my last name, dude. It's Ken Giddens right now. Dude, DJ's DJ from JC, man. Yeah, people don't know. He's from Junction City, Kansas, my boy. I mean, I'm from Riley, so it's not quite the same thing. But still, he's basically hometown, man. Like this, like right in our backyard, this talent, man. Dude, thought we were going to be, you know, struggling a little bit with just Giddens because Ward was, you know, questionable and Ward didn't even play at all. But guess what? Doesn't matter. DJ put everybody in his little backpack and carried the whole team. I wrote DJ Giddens in my little notes. I wrote DJ Giddens putting the team on his back when he only had like 2 touchdowns, and then he went out and got 4 or 2 more, 4 total. Like, he was absolutely dominating in the run game. This was amazing. But in order for him to do that, he had to have an offensive line who were just giving him these huge holes to run through, man. Like, that offensive line, it is so nice to have such a veteran offensive line. Also, oh man, the name is escaping me, but he came back.
Christian Duffy, right tackle.
Yeah, Duffy. God. Yeah, that's who it was. Christian Duffy came back for this game, and man, was it noticeable. Like, I mean, it was just, it was so blatantly obvious. I'm bringing that back. Blatantly obvious that him getting that run game going had a lot to do with that offensive line, giving him the opportunity to do that. But dude, it was incredible watching that performance. I mean, he literally was putting on a showcase. Unbelievable. DJ, you are the man. The man.
You know, I tweeted it throughout the game at some point. I said, DJ Earl Campbell Giddens, because he was breaking all sorts of tackles. Now, I did think this was probably the best performance from the offensive line this season. 280 rushing yards. That is phenomenal on 40 attempts. That's 7 yards a carry. That is really, really, really good. Now, a lot of that was on broken tackles or, on the outside, but it doesn't matter. The offensive line played really good, and it was really nice to see, like you said, Christian Duffy back playing right tackle. It's a thing of beauty when he's out there. I thought Taylor Potier played pretty well. I thought the O-line overall played great, like I said. They only gave up 1 sack, and I felt like Will kind of held onto the ball a little too long there. But overall, I felt like the O-line played great. Obviously, DJ Giddens played the game of his life. I'm not sure he's ever going to have 200 rushing yards again in his career, but maybe if he does, we'll go ahead and clip this for a future episode. Big Will Howard, he was distributing the ball as well to a bunch of receivers. How many receivers caught a pass? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different guys caught a pass. Giddens leading the way at 8 for 86. It felt like the K-State offense was a little bit more pro style, getting the ball out in space at a running back, which you usually only see in the NFL. Tight end Ben Sinnott had another nice game, 5 catches for 64 yards, a couple tough catches. Phillip Brooks had one where he got completely clocked. I felt like that was targeting, but you know what? He held onto the ball, and K-State was able to move right down the field. And actually, I want to bring this up really quickly, and we'll look at the rest of these stats here in a minute. I want to look at this play-by-play here because K-State in the second half, check this out here. Starting the second half, field goal, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. So in the second half, they scored on every single possession, and that definitely matters when you are playing a team that is ranked number 1 in basically every category in offense, rushing, total offense, scoring offense, all of that. For K-State to just continue to put points on the board and really keep the ball away from the opponent, that is phenomenal. Look at this. 9 plays, 63 yards, 4 minutes. 11 plays, 85 yards. This was probably, I feel like, the biggest drive of the entire game. Some of that was helpful from some penalties, but, we'll take it. 13 plays, 65 yards, 6 minutes. 2 plays, and this was that long touchdown run by Big Will Howard, who was coming into the game hurt. K-State offense played great in the second half. Would you agree with that, Mr. Ken Giddens?
Yes, I would. Dude, let's not forget, this was an injured Will Howard, and he's putting on them wheels, man. He's getting touchdowns, running in touchdowns. Like, what the heck? This is unbelievable. He got 2 rushing touchdowns, and he's injured. He is not 100%, people. This is a tough SOB, man. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe they were making him run, or, he was even like, they were calling running, like rushing plays. I'm like, if you're going to do that, put Avery in. Like, we all had this expectation Avery was going to be in there. And if he was going to be in there, he was going to be the one facilitating the running game, whereas Will would, continue with his dominance in the pocket. But guess what? Will's like, no. Now, you see, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to take over the whole game. Right. I'm going to do this whole thing myself. And Will just showed how tough he is as a player. He's determined. you hear like former college players that have spoken on this, and when you get asked like, hey, are you okay, are you good to go, and like the response is, when you're a player playing in college, you're like, oh yeah, I'm fine, like
Right.
you're not going to want to sit out, especially
Right.
when you're like the quarterback. You're not going to want to sit out. You want to keep the team going. You're the leader, you're the one that's orchestrating everything. So but man, good on Will Howard to get in there and just instill some more confidence in this season. Now we do have a bye week coming up, so he'll have some more time to rest and get and lick those wounds that he had. But man, what an amazing performance. But it wasn't all Will Howard. It was, DJ Giddens, man, who really, really stepped up with the rushing game and the receiving game. It's just so insane. There was one oh man, it was like, I can't remember who was the one. Was it Jaden Jackson who went in for this like one-handed catch touch? It almost caught.
Almost happened. Yeah, that happened right in front of me.
I was like, that would have been like the play of the week.
Yeah, Will missed a couple passes. Now he was 27 for 42. That's pretty good. He did miss a couple passes. He had that one right there that could have happened there. One-handed catch, that would have been insanely tough. He missed one to, I believe, Garrett Oakley, the sideline, and then he missed
tight end that was injured from like the summer, right?
Yep.
He was, and they were really excited about him coming in because he hadn't shown anything yet, and man, that was so close for him.
And he almost had another touchdown pass early in the game to Phillip Brooks. He had like a 10-yard out, and he missed him. He should have thrown it about a second earlier, and it would have been perfect. He just missed him. So he did miss some passes. K-State offense did not play, their A game. And when we're looking at this play-by-play here, I just want to mention K-State did go up 21-10 and force a punt. And here we are. K-State's up 21-10, forcing a punt. They could have come down and made it 24-10, 28-10, which would have been great. Unfortunately, they punt. 2 plays later, UCF scores to make it 21-17. And we're gonna go ahead and switch over to the K-State defense that gave up. It gave up some yards. Definitely gave up some.
Man, we're already done with the offense. That was quick. Quick. I wanted to say one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
So I must have missed the news on this, but. Yo, what happened to my boy RJ Garcia, man? Why wasn't he suited up? What's up, bro? What's up, bro?
He went out injured early in the game. He was playing. He went out like really early in the game. I want to say it was like first quarter, like first or second drive.
It must have been right at the beginning, because I was actually on my way home. And I actually missed the first touchdown. I was like, K-State already scored. I'm like, I just got home. Like, I was maybe like 2 or 3 minutes late from when they started, and like they had already scored. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. So
and then I noticed that RJ Garcia was like, he had his helmet off, no pads on. I was like, wait, what's going on?
So I will say that he went out injured early, but the K-State offense coming right down and scoring. They've done that every single game this season. They've taken the ball on their first possession, went right down and scored a touchdown every single time, all 4 games. And when looking at, I believe it was Ryan Lackey on Twitter, he said that was the first time K-State had scored a touchdown on its opening drive of the game for the first 4 games of the season since 1990, which is crazy to think about. Like, the K-State offense is very efficient right now. They scored 40 or more points in 3 out of the 4 games, and when they didn't, they scored 27. And that should have went to overtime. Let's be honest, that was a lucky kick by Missouri, but we're still getting over that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just also, I'm sure we're going to get into the special teams later.
We will.
But we had opportunities to score even more than what we have right here.
Yes, we did. I agree with that. All right, let's talk about the K-State defense, and then we'll get into
teams.
All right, so K-State defense, they struggled early. I feel like they played a lot better in the second half.
Hey, not my boy Desmond Purnell.
Purnell was a player of the game. He punched out a
dude. Purnell was a stud, man.
He was.
Steve, the one thing that you keep criticizing the defense on is forcing turnovers.
Yep.
And man, we from the Missouri game to this game, there was a huge difference in the way we played. I mean, we were constantly criticizing the fact that we're like, we got to see something. We got to like turn this around. You know, we got to see some change, man, because like it does not look good the way that they were playing. And we saw so many, like Will Lee flying around, batting down passes, Desmond Purnell, like we saw like the player, K-State players like punching the ball, trying to get the ball out, you know, forcing these fumbles. Like they were not messing around. So they were definitely, I could tell that they were getting coached pretty hardcore on this, making sure that they force some turnovers. But go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, like, I felt like they played well at times. They did punch out, Purnell punched out that ball on 4th down and 1, and they ended up getting the first down, but they only got the first down for about a half second until Purnell punched it out and K-State jumped on it, and that was a huge play in the game. They also got an interception from, I believe, Jacob Parrish, which is your guy for sure on that defense. They did give up over 400 yards of offense. Now, I was at the game, and I'll tell you what, those UCF players are some of the fastest players I had ever seen, like in person. Like K-State has played against Oklahoma, Texas, all these different teams, and I've seen a lot of NFL players in person. Michael Crabtree is another one that I've seen. Adrian Peterson, I remember seeing him in person. But these UCF players may have been the fastest overall team I had ever seen.
Dude, Richardson, Harvey, they had some freaking wheels
Hudson, crazy fast. The whole team was insanely fast. And they were the number 1 offense in the country for a reason. They weren't 2 or 3. They were number 1. And their coach is an offensive-minded coach. And they did bring out the bag of tricks for some pretty nice. I mean, they're nice play calls. That their first touchdown being that screenplay on 3rd and long. I mean, that was the perfect play call against what we were running defensively. Like that was
we totally bit on that, man.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Totally bit on that.
Perfect play call for them. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
It's not just the play call. It's the execution after they make the call. So it's like not only do they have to like, you know, make the good play calls and stuff like that, but they have to execute on it. And man, their offense is really really good. Yeah, they've got some really fast guys on their team, and they were just blowing right by us. It was crazy. And there were so many times where like I thought we were going to get a sack on their quarterback, but their backup quarterback, he is so elusive, man. Like I was like just watching him just like, and it didn't even look like he was trying that hard. He would just make one quick move and then he would juke out like the guy. I'm like, man, like we just can't get a hold of this guy.
Right.
But there were so many times where we had them against the ropes. It's like 3rd and long, 4th and long, and they make these huge plays. I'm like,
they made some ridiculous plays, no doubt about it. I mean, their quarterback completed only 14 passes, but he had 264 yards. That is incredible. Those are some big plays. 3 touchdowns as well. Like they played well on offense, and when looking at it, I was mowing a yard earlier today, and I was thinking about this. That is probably the 2nd best offense K-State will play. Okay, it's either 1st or 2nd in terms of the whole season that K-State will play like all year. Like the only other team that I think is comparable is Texas with all of their talent, and those receivers are probably the best receivers we're going to see outside of Texas as well. So they're really holding to 24 points because let's be honest, that last touchdown should not have happened. Like I can't believe that their coach even went for that. Like calling a timeout with 6 seconds left just to try to score a touchdown when you're down 3 touchdowns. Like that was something else, man.
Why? Like, is it
just
like, an ego thing? Like
it has to be. It has to be.
What is the reason? Like you're just trying to pad the stats? Like
I think he was just trying to show his team that he's not giving up on them.
No, you know dude, I mean? This was definitely like a selfish, like ego thing, man. It had to have been. Like I'm not giving that guy the bit. Like I also love the chants from the crowds. You could hear that through the TV. It just doesn't matter. It just does. Like that's what I'm thinking in my head. It's like, dude, this doesn't matter. Just take the knee. Like save your players. Like what would have happened if like he's trying to make this touchdown and then one of his guys.
Gets hurt.
We'll just say Harvey. What if Harvey just like tears an ACL or something?
Right.
Like,
Right.
was that worth it? Like, you don't win the game off of that. Like, if this isn't like the Big 12 championship, like what are you doing, dude? Like, you have a whole nother game next week. It just didn't make sense to me, man. So I totally agree with that. It just, whatever, dude, whatever. Like, again, it doesn't matter, but whatever. Like, good on them to stay with it, I suppose. I mean, like you said, they're a tough team. They're good offensively. We had a lot of question marks on defense, but why? Because we're missing Green.
Yep.
He's out for the season. Everybody knew that. And
Austin Romaine played in his spot, and he struggled early. Let's be honest. That one long run they had at the beginning of the game was completely on him. He went the wrong way. I mean, there was 2 holes there, so I mean, he picked the wrong one, and that guy just went straight up the gut for like 40 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
But after that, I felt like he played a lot better. And then when they got Jake Clifton in there, which was a surprise to see him back on the field, I thought he wasn't going to play until the next game. It was nice to see him out there. I felt like the K-State defense overall, they played okay. They didn't play great. They didn't play terrible. I mean, when you think about their 3 touchdowns that they had, or 3 of their 4 that they had, one was a trick play. One was just a perfect scheme for what we were running defensively. And then they had just the perfect pass. And it was a 3rd play from scrimmage to start the second half, right in the end zone, right in front of me. Will Lee was right there on him, and he almost was able to bat it down. It was just a perfect pass and perfect catch. I am not mad about that whatsoever. They have some players for sure.
Yeah.
And then that last touchdown to end the game, which should not have happened.
Yeah,
I thought the defense played. I'd give it about
4 sacks.
They did get 4 sacks. They get 2 turnovers. They're playing against a great offense.
An interception.
Yep. They I feel like they're probably. I'd give it around a C+, B-, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Because based off the team they're playing, I feel like I still have question marks on the pass defense going forward.
Yeah.
But
they played way better this week than they did the previous week. That's for sure.
They did.
I mean, that was very, very good on them. Obviously still need to work on it more, guys. I mean, it's just going to have to get better and better each week.
Oh, absolutely.
And honestly, because of how much they were running, I say this all the time with our D lines. I always say them boys. They weren't them boys this last night. They got
4 sacks, but
they got 4 sacks.
A lot of times where the quarterback had all day to throw.
Exactly.
And he missed a bunch of sacks. Now, part of that is the fact that in the second half, that's when I feel like that happened more. I felt like that some of the sacks that they did have were coverage sacks because they made some adjustments. The players weren't open as much. We were dropping 8s, which was helpful in some plays, was not helpful on that 3rd and freaking 24 that they got running the ball. That was outside of that one touchdown that they had. That was the only play that pissed me off.
I couldn't believe he made that.
I couldn't believe
that 3rd down conversion. I was like, this kid is incredible. Man, he made everybody just look so slow on the field.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Straight up the gut, one cut, and then beat everyone to the sideline. Like I said, they were fast. They were really, really, really fast.
But if we're going to criticize anything about K-State, it's got to be the special teams, man.
Should we get into that?
We have to mention it. As K-State fans, we have to mention the frustrating thing. This could have easily been 48-31. Easily been 48-31. Yes.
And it was go ahead.
Well, there's a glaring problem that we're staring down the barrel of, and that it has a number and a name. The number is 17, and the name is Chris Tennant.
He struggled today, man. He really did.
Bro, how long was that field goal attempt? 25 yards?
26.
26 yards.
K-State got to the 9-yard line. The 9-yard line.
And then he missed an extra point.
Now, that wasn't the only things that he did bad as well. So to start the second half. Now, I will say this. I felt like he had played fine before this. He did miss a 55-yarder a week ago. But outside of that, he had played okay. Like, he hadn't missed any other kicks outside of that really long one, right? He had played okay. But then not only did he miss that field goal going into halftime, that should not have happened. You cannot miss those. You cannot miss those. To start the second half, we kick off, and they have like a 50-yard return, which he could make the tackle. Now, I know he's a kicker, but he's like 6'5", 230 pounds. And the dude is running right by him. He just puts one hand out. Doesn't even try to make the tackle.
Oh, no.
Doesn't even try to make the tackle. That was really, really, really bad. And to top it all off, he also missed an extra point late in the game.
You realize how important those extra points are?
Mentally with him right now. There's something going wrong mentally.
Do you realize how important extra points are, people? We lost last week's game from 1 point. That's how important it is to get
one field goal.
Yeah. Well, one field goal. Oh, yeah, sorry, one field goal. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, so like the kicking game matters, and we have got to have confidence get back in Chris Tennett's heart, mind, soul, whatever. Like he's got to get back with it.
Do you think they should open up the competition and let the other guy try?
So we got to do something, man.
2 kicks and 1 extra point through 4 games.
And then he also didn't even, like, he kicked it out of bounds.
Kicked it out of bounds. He's kicked it out of bounds like 2 or 3 times already.
That puts them at 35-yard line rather than the 25-yard. Like, it's not good, man. Like when you're going against a super good offense, you don't want to give them advantages like that.
No, you do not.
That's killing us, man. Like the kicking game has got to get cleaned up. Also, I just wanted to point this out one more time. Will Howard's streak continues with throwing an interception every game. Like we have got, like, can we not like have one game where Will doesn't throw an interception? That's enough. Like, if we're going to be on this,
it's going to happen at some point. I don't know if it's going to happen against Oklahoma State, but it will happen.
I don't want this streak to continue.
What about
I want this streak to die?
What about Jake Bloomer? He did have 1 punt. We only punted 1 time.
Yeah. That's amazing.
69 yards.
Nice. Very nice. 69.
And not only was that nice, they ran a trick play on that punt return. They had a guy back, and he ran one side to try to get the team to all run to him.
Right. Pretending to catch it.
Pretending to catch it, and they brought a guy who was trying to cover a receiver to run back early on the other side. And they did not fool K-State, and they did not fool the long snapper, Brandon Plattner, to get that tackle. That was a great special teams play for a team that had so many bad special teams plays against UCF. That was definitely a highlight.
That's a highlight.
K-State, for sure.
Yeah. Props to the K-State, not falling for those little tricky plays there. Well, I mean, it tricked the dang cameraman. Like on the cast, like when I was watching it, I was just like, what the heck, like juking out the cameraman. So that was pretty cool, man. That was really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's moments like that where you gotta give praise where it belongs. Yeah, K-State only making, like, they actually said on the cast that no one had punted, and then Missouri punted, we got the ball, and then the very next possession we punted. So it was like they were like, oh wow, like no one's punted this game yet, and then lo and behold, then it happened. So
right.
It was like, wow, caster curse right there easily. But the only other, like, I had a couple more notes here. The only other thing I wrote down that we haven't gone over is Chris Kleiman was fired up this game, dude.
He was. He does not like losing, man. He does not like losing.
He was like, when they had the cameras on him, it was like he was tearing off that headset, just screaming at people. I was like, what is going on here? This guy has just fired up. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think was going on there? Because we were playing fine, but like, it was like during offensive plays, like Will Howard made this like really good pass to one of the moments I saw it happen was Will Howard passes it to Ben Sennett. Sennett catches it, and we get a first down.
On 4th down, that was a 4th down play, right?
A 4th down play, yeah. And then I just see Chris Kleiman. He's got his headset off. He's screaming, and Will's like pointing and talking back. And I'm like, what's happening? Like we just got a first.
Getting fired up, dude. He was getting fired up.
He was on one last night, dude.
He did not want to lose, man. He really did not. And I
No,
love
it's
it.
Big 12 time, baby.
Be hard on them when they make a mistake, but give them props when they do something right. And he was fired up, whether they're doing something bad or doing something good. I love seeing that fire from him.
Dude, it's so inspiring. And it gets the players around you to, like, you know, kind of jump on that and get with it, you know. It was just he was on one, dude. And it was like getting me going like, yeah, man, let's get him. Get him.
Get him. I love it. I love it. Any other thoughts on K-State offense, defense, or special teams?
I mean, like I said, we all expected to see Avery Johnson, but hey, one of the things not one snap, but hey, one of the things that that the casters were talking about that I actually agreed with was they were talking about how Will's relationship with Avery Johnson kind of resembles the relationship with Skylar Thompson and Will.
Mm-hmm.
So Avery is going to get those snaps. Okay. It's just, this is Will's team right now. So all those K-State fans that were expecting to see Avery, listen, don't get butthurt because he's not in there. Like, Will played an amazing game. He played above my expectations.
Oh, 100%. Me too.
Given that he was injured. And, you know, another thing they were talking about on the cast was Dragon Ball Z. Like, I don't know if you guys, if any of our listeners know about this anime show, but they were talking about sensu beans and how Will Howard took a sensu bean before he got on the field. It was like, I'm like, are they really talking about Dragon Ball Z right now on the cast? Right. It was so awesome. But other than that, man, super fun game, super explosive. I mean, I called it. I was like, K-State needs to get back on that trend of getting 40 points or more. Guess what? We got 44. Yeah. And then you called it that UCF was going to get more than
let's go. Let's get into a replay. We'll show the tape right now. A replay of our hottest
K-State hot takes.
Hot takes. Let's play it. All right, we're going to get into a new segment that Ken came up with. It is called the K-State hot takes. So we're going to talk about our hottest K-State takes. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say this. Here's my K-State hot take of the week. K-State is going to allow more points this week to UCF than they allowed to Missouri last week, but K-State is going to win the game. We'll get into our score predictions in the next segment, but from what I'm saying here is K-State's going to allow more than 30 points to UCF, but K-State is still going to find a way to win the game. Kenny, what's your K-State hot take?
My K-State hot take for this week is Avery Johnson's going to get in the game. He's going to show off them wheels, and he's going to make an 80-plus yard rushing touchdown, y'all. That is my K-State hot take for the week.
I love it.
Wow,
I love it.
That's nice. Wow, that's hard to get. That's going to be hard to follow up. Who do I have left then? I guess,
turn and burn, baby. Turn and burn.
You know what? Since we already have Austin Machine Moore, let's just say Daniel Green's replacement comes in, Romaine, and gets 2 sacks and a forced fumble and just solidifies himself as a solid backup, as a true freshman.
Would love it. I would love it. I like it.
Yeah. And those are your K-State hot takes for this week.
So those are our hot takes. I didn't feel like we were that far off. My hot take was not like a huge hot take. K-State allowing more than 30 points, but still winning. Like, we all kind of felt like it was going to be a high-scoring game. The over-under was like 55 or something like that. So that wasn't a huge hot take. I do feel kind of bad for you and Cody because Avery Johnson didn't even get to play. So
hey, but you know, just replace Avery Johnson with my boy Giddens, and there you go. Like, you know, I mean, like, come on, like, you gotta give me some grace, man. Like, we all thought he was gonna be playing. You know, it's kind of like one of them things where, like, man, well, you know, it is what it is. But I'm happy with the result. I'm happy that K-State won. I'm happy the way that they won. One of the things that Cody actually did say in the cast that wasn't even part of the hot take was he said if K-State was going to end up winning, it was going to be through the run game. How the heck did he call that?
He did. He was very, very heavy on K-State run game. He said that he knew that they were going to have to do that.
I don't know how he could call that. It was like, well, we don't have Ward. I'm like, how are you going to do that? And like, I'm like, I guess you'd have to assume that Avery Johnson is going to fill those gaps.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
It was Giddens instead.
It was Giddens the whole time. I'm like, gosh, dang, this guy was all over the map. I mean, he's got to be our purple pod player of the game for sure.
DJ Giddens, no doubt about it.
DJ Giddens, my boy.
We did.
JC.
We did have some score predictions, and Ken was the closest. He said K-State would win 42-21, which would be a 3-touchdown win. And with 3 seconds left in the game, K-State was up 44-24, which was 3 touchdowns. And then UCF decided to call a timeout and score one last touchdown to make it look a little bit better. So, Ken, congrats to you for being the closest on the score. I said 38-34. Cody almost had the right score for UCF. He had K-State winning 31-24. So a little bit all over the place, but you guys were definitely closer than I was.
I just wanted to sort of like be the optimist and have K-State try to get back on that 40, that 40 plus game, 40 plus score game that we've had the last 2 out of 3 games, prior to this one. Now it's 3 out of 4 games we've had 40 plus points per game. Right. So and it doesn't look like we're going to stop that. I mean, no. We've got Oklahoma in 2 weeks. We've got a whole Oklahoma week State, to rest. Yeah. Oklahoma State, yeah. Oklahoma State, we have that. We have the Cowboys, which, come on. That's going to be a joke. We'll get into that probably then on the next episode when we do.
I do want to ask you though, because I'm going to present this this to you. Now, K-State has struggled on defense, specifically against the pass. But when you look at this schedule, it kind of opens up nicely for K-State to get back to Arlington. Would you agree? I mean, we got Oklahoma State, who's not been very good on the road, and then after that at Texas Tech, who's 1-3. They just lost their starting quarterback last Saturday. They lost to West Virginia, who was picked last in the conference. Then you have TCU at home, who went to the Fiesta Bowl in the national championship, but they have not looked very good this year. They've not looked good at all. Houston has looked terrible. There's a very, very, very good chance K-State could still only have one loss going into that K-State versus Texas game November 4th. And then after that, Baylor at home. Baylor's not looked great either. They just got pummeled by Texas. And then at KU, who I believe has actually looked pretty decent, all things considered.
Come on, man. Don't give them credit. The Mormons had them, dude.
It pains me to say it.
The Mormons had that game.
And then Iowa State at home, who's not looked very good. I mean, do you feel like the schedule kind of lines up perfectly for K-State?
I think just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say, man. Like they actually look.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah, what do you want me to say? Like, yes, we have a much easier schedule going down the stretch. Texas being like really the only one that somewhat looks like they're on our level. I think that they're also looking at us with that same sort of like regard that even though we're not ranked as high as they are, because
I believe K-State the new rankings came out today. I believe K-State's ranked 25th, and then I know Texas is a top 5 team.
You got to be kidding me, dude. Like, are you serious?
KU's
the team with the best offense in the nation. We're only 25th? Give me a break. Whatever.
I don't disagree, dude. I do not disagree.
It's unbelievable. But yeah, the Mormons barely lost to the KU Hawks. I mean, I thought, and then remember when we were talking about Texas and Baylor, you're like, oh, there's no way that Texas is going to beat Baylor by 15.
They beat them bad.
They crushed them, man. Like Cody and I were trying to tell you, man, like Texas.
My picks were not very good. Okay. My picks overall last weekend were not good.
Well, I mean, it was mainly, I think you said Sam Houston was going to beat Houston.
No, right? I didn't. I did not say that. I'd have to go back and look at the tape.
Either way, I think this season, the early part of our season was probably the hardest part, honestly, is what it looks like, because like you said, Oklahoma State doesn't look very good. Texas Tech just lost their quarterback. TCU is not like what they doesn't look like what they used to be. At least not like last year. You know, they
No.
lost a lot of people there. Houston looks like the worst team in the league. Texas is like our only real competitor. Baylor is not the same Baylor.
No, they're not.
I swear, man, I'm always on the fence about like I'm not always on the fence with like hating Kansas. I hate Kansas, but I'm always on the fence with giving them credit. You know, like
Sure.
oh, are they a good team? Are they not a good team? It's hard to say. Last year they had, you know, a bunch of wins early on, and then we got 8 wins before they even got 6. So it's kind of like
that is true.
It was kind of like,
They're
oh,
the September national champs, but they have played well, man.
Yeah,
they did beat Illinois. They did beat BYU. And they got 2 defensive scores from that.
They barely beat BYU. Come on.
They won by 11.
BYU had them. They had them.
I think I hate KU more than anyone. I hope they lose every single game in football and basketball. But I'm willing to say that they've played well this year. They have played well, and I'm not looking forward to that game because I think it's going to be a tough one.
It's at KU also.
I still think K-State's going to win. I do still think K-State's going to win.
There's no way we can't. We have way too, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just hard for me. It's hard for me to root for a team where their mascot is a dang, you know, Jayhawk,
mythical bird. Okay, let's take a look around the Big 12 before we get out of here. K-State starts 1-0 Big 12 play with a 44-31 win. Texas beats the snot out of Baylor, 38-6. Oklahoma, I thought this was going to be a high-scoring game. Nope, very low scoring. They win at Cincinnati 20-6. TCU wins the Battle of Dallas 34-17 against SMU. We already talked about KU beating BYU. West Virginia wins 20-13 versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech, who a lot of people thought was going to be very good this year, including Ken Savvy, Ken Giddens, Ken whatever.
I'm recanting that statement. I'm retracting that statement, dude. I don't know what I was thinking, man.
And then Iowa State beats Oklahoma State in a battle of just bottom dwellers in the conference. And then Houston beats a snot out of Sam Houston 38-7. Any other game outside of K-State stick out to you at all?
Well, I remember you were telling me that the Houston game was going to be high scoring.
The over-under was 38, and it beat the over.
Okay, well,
I did not anticipate Oklahoma State and Iowa State being that high scoring, though.
Yeah, that's
shocking. Over-under was like 36 or something. It's crazy low.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, the only one that you have to look at is that Texas-Baylor game, man. It's like, wow, is Texas really that good? Are they really that good?
They are, unfortunately.
It's crazy, man. Like,
it pains me to say it. It pains me to say it.
Because I don't know if Texas is just playing just better than their opponent. You know what I mean?
Or their opponents. I mean, I know Alabama's pretty freaking good, and they won by multiple scores at Alabama. I think Texas is legit.
Maybe so. And if it is the case, then that's great for the Big 12, I suppose.
For one more year.
Yeah, I don't want them to exit with a trophy, man. That would sting.
Hey, we still have a chance to beat them in Arlington, in their own state, in their own backyard. I hope it happens. I hope to God it happens.
Yeah, even though it'd be their backyard, there would be a ton of K-State fans there if it actually were to happen that way.
I also agree that the Texas versus Baylor is probably the game that jumps out to me the most.
Eye-opening because you're just
points.
like, damn, Baylor though, like,
is Baylor really that bad or is Texas that good? I think it's a mixture.
That's what I'm trying to get at is like, where do you land on the spectrum of who's good and who's just playing really bad?
Sure.
What, like, is this just a really good matchup for Texas and not for Baylor? I don't know. Like, it's college football is weird in that way sometimes. So it's kind of difficult. Now, I really hope that Kansas is just overperforming right now. Like
right.
the other foot's got to drop. Is that the term? Is that the phrase? The other foot is going to drop soon. It's not. I feel like they're playing above expectations. I don't know. That's just how I feel. But you said that Oklahoma Cincinnati was going to be a lot closer.
Yeah.
You thought Cincinnati would give a run for the money, but
what was the spread? I want to say it was 15. Let me look. Let's take a look here. I believe the spread was 15, and I said they're not covering 15. Let me look here.
I remember you saying that you're like Oklahoma opening up to Cincinnati. Like there's no like you were predicting Cincinnati was going to actually get
over under 13. They did cover. The line was 13.
The line was 13, yeah.
And they did cover that by 1 point, but I believe it was 15 when we looked at it. Or maybe that was a Texas Baylor game. I don't know. I felt like
no, that was the Texas Baylor game. Was 15.
I felt like it was going to be close, but I also thought it was going to be high scoring, and it was not.
Yeah, well, it's these prediction things are so out of whack. They said Kansas had a 4-point lead.
They had KU favored by 9, and they won by 11. So
K-State.
K-State by 6, and it went from 7 to like 4.5, somewhere in there. And obviously K-State won by multiple scores. In fact, they won by what do we end up winning by 13, and it should have been 20. So
yeah, that was just because of the last 6 seconds. So yeah, it just goes to show we're not getting the respect that we need that we deserve.
We'll go back and earn it. We will go back and earn it. Anyone wants this sauce, they can come get it. Like Cody said against Missouri. Missouri came and got it, but I don't know if anyone else has got the dogs that Missouri has at receiver. Maybe just UCF and Texas, honestly. No one else has got those dogs, dude.
Texas has some good receivers. I'll give them that. But I mean, which is another reason why we got to get our secondary up to speed, and we've got a lot of games to prepare for that. So that's kind of exciting. And when we get towards the end of the season, I think we'll be there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think we'll get there. So that's pretty legit.
We will have some more guests joining us in future episodes. I don't know if we've decided on whether or not we're going to record on Tuesday because for Wednesday's episode, because there's no K-State game this coming weekend, but we may do a special episode because we had talked about this game between K-State and KU that's disputed. We may do a look back at that and then just talk to Cody and maybe one of our guests that was supposed to join us today and talk a little bit more about K-State versus UCF and then K-State going forward. We'll see. I don't know. We haven't decided yet, but I appreciate everyone for watching, and please make sure you guys like and subscribe. Ken Giddens, you got anything else?
Yeah, everybody, please. The comment section is on fire, and we need to just keep it going. If you have some hot takes, I want to argue with some people. You know what I mean? Not really, but like seriously though, like it's open up for you guys to have a discussion. Like UCF fans, welcome to the Big 12, baby. Like seriously, this ain't no walk in the park. So and maybe I mean at least not in Kansas. You know, it ain't no walk in the park here. So
absolutely not.
But the next game you guys have at home, you'll be going against Oklahoma State, right? So you might actually be able to pull off a win there. But UCF, I'm glad you guys are in the Big 12. You actually did a really good showing. You're going to make this conference stronger. So you guys are always welcome. You guys are definitely welcome in the Big 12. Fans, you guys are welcome to comment on this video. I encourage it. And then of course, K-State fans, Wildcat fans, please light these comments on fire, man. Like, I don't care what you put in there. You can say that like my glasses look stupid, my hat looks dumb, whatever. Like, I don't care what you guys say. Just put something in the comment section, like, subscribe, and we will see you guys next week, maybe 2 weeks.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Go Cats, baby.
Go Cats.